I'm ready to slash a bird.
No quarter. I'm going to be uncomfortable and all over you from start to finish.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Outside of the Box. And I am excited because this has kind of been, in discussion for a long time, but I have Michael Cross here on the show, who is, now an NHRL staple and has Stag Beetle. So welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on. It's really an honor and a privilege to be here.
Absolutely. So, I'm curious. I'm sure a lot of fans who watch NHRL regularly would recognize you. They're familiar with the bot, but I kind of want to hear more of the backstory. How you got started. What led to this build in the first place, which you've told me a little bit about, but I don't know that a lot of fans have heard that.
Well, I'm not even sure you know the whole thing. The first robot was going to be, and I have brought a little props along. It was supposed to be a 12-pound robot that was supposed to have 6 of these wheels. These is my front forks. And this is the cutting board that I started to cut it out as. So what happened there is I didn't know, I just slap 6 wheels on it, everything's going to be fine, right? But that was even before I went to going to my first event to spectate, because, I'm starting to make all this because we found out about Norwalk as a family and we were going to do a day trip because I'm a BattleBots fan, didn't know anything about Norwalk. And so we're like, well, maybe I'll just build a bot and bring it down. And I started making this monstrosity. And my wife was like, slow down. Let's go down. And they say, and ask questions, which is really good because the robot that I got, the little RC car that was attached to this, works on the wrong frequency to work inside the BattleBot. So I went there, and can you see what's left of this sign? My son made this, and there was a actual picture of my original design there, but got wet on the way home. Things get destroyed on the way home. And I was holding that out in the audience, and the CEO of Norwalk, Kelly Biederman, I hope I'm saying that correctly so I don't get shot. Basically gave me her email and said, contact me, and then I'll hook you up with somebody to teach you the basics. And then Henchman Rob, I think, got that unfortunate duty. So he was really awesome. And now that I've been a part of Norwalk for more events, the time that he actually took out of his really busy schedule, I can't appreciate that enough, because, I was like, what's an ESC? What's it's a different language. I have an EAC for my BAC. Why? I don't know. So I actually, did the rookie thing, buying extra parts I didn't need to know. And I think during one of the video conferences that I had with Henchman Rob, he saw this look of terror on my face and just like my brain imploding when he opened up the gate of knowledge just a bit. So he's like, we're going to get you a kit. And he recommended the bot kit. And then we tried to figure out what to use for a weapon. And we settled on the Viper kit, kind of, he kind of pointed me and he's like, what about this? What about that? And I put the pieces together. So when I started having one of those meltdown moments, I was like, Rob, and he walked me through it. And now he doesn't need to do that anymore because I've gotten myself a part of the community. And all of these really cool people have been talking to me, and I've been learning. I've just been a sponge as much as I can with everyone. So that's how the four-wheeled Stag came about, because it's like skill level to design level. So like my design level that I wanted to do is way up here, but skill level. So has been kind of going up. And then, so I got to the first event. It was weird. My job slows down in the summer, so I get kind of like every other week off. So I was able just to immerse myself in robot building. And I think that horrified my wife, because I think I pulled a couple of like all-nighters, and I'm like, how do you tin a wire? Why do you tin a wire? Because it's good. You know, and I wasn't shaving, my hair's getting all straggly. So I, you know, because I just went deep. And then the first event was amazing because we went on a VIP tour. As my spectator, we went on a VIP tour, and that's how I met Luke, Evan, Justin Eswine. Justin Eswine took a half hour outside of the building. He went through my design with me, and he just said, you know, you don't have to have all of these educations and stuff. You just got to be obsessed. And my wife was like, check. You know, so and then I just started building this, and oh, I got the other parts kicking around. I forgot to get them out. The original, they are the original parts. I won't waste your time in looking for them, but they're two brackets that just went up that I cut the holes in and put these two UHMW mounts in with the forks. You know, now it's bugging me, because these are the original shape of the forks.
Okay.
And I've learned how to grind metal. And I started putting a beveled and a fake edge on the outside. So on this, that's how we got to here. So now my forks have a faux wedge. I'm sorry, this may have been a very wild transition from robot to whatever rant I was going on, but this is how it got there. This is my counter versus horizontals.
Okay.
So ground me out here, because I'm all over the place, Christine. What would you like to know?
So, you know, I know you mentioned that, but I mean, aside from that, like when you look at the first version that you made of Stag Beetlebot, what has that like evolution looked like of the bot, aside from just like, you know, what you've done with the forks? You know, have you changed anything major, or has it stayed relatively the same?
Oh no. So a bot kit is just 4 metal brackets, and of course I do have some of my props and not all of them. These are the side pieces, and you have 4 metal pieces. They're aluminum 5120 or whatever, and you just bolt them together, and it's just a really durable metal box. But it comes in really just at weight, you know. So in my first iteration, I took a fork mount, cut it down, and put it on, and I was just underweight. I had enough space for like 12-gram pieces of cutting board to make the wings, you know, on this part. So I used that setup in between September and November. I didn't make the finals, you know, and so I used in between November and March, because I didn't go to the New Bots event. I took that 4 months, and I learned how to CAD, 3D print, and work metals, you know, along with Christmas, New Year's, stuff like that, you know. So I just really immersed it. And then what I did is I had a CAD of this design. Oops, there goes the copy. Whoops. So some iterations. This is the first one that came out that actually Norwalk printed for me. And it was vastly overweight compared to what I thought it was supposed to be. And I was trying to make that happen, get underweight for March. And, you know, I had a backup, and I modeled up. I got it modeled up onto a PLA, getting it all ready to send out, got that sent out, starting to just work stuff, and then lose power for 36 hours right before the event. So I had just barely gotten into the event in March, but I was really curious to see how my first prototype of a TPU front went, because that TPU front was very critical to tying in my forks, tying in my weapon, because there was no real good way to go from the kit, match the kits together and make it look at all pretty. Frankenstein was a compliment. So then this comes along. So this is the newest version. Not exactly the newest version. There's one more coming off the printer. But it's ideally the same. Not only have these forks shortened, and I kind of Swiss cheese you're not going to be able to see it on this, Swiss cheese the back, but these are also removable TPU pieces, and that's how the wiring gets threaded in. So there's a little hole in here and stuff like that. So all of my wires are now contained in the front, hopefully free of damage from other people's weapons and things like that. But now with forked weapons, with your forks, one of the biggest challenges at Norwalk is divots, craters, things like that. I've put in, I call it a fork inhibitor, but it's really just kind of like a fancy doorstop, because what it does, what it will do is limit the amount this fork moves. So basically, as it flips, it's not going to go any lower than the bottom of my tire. So then that way, in essence, the forks are kind of hovering over the floor as basically a paper width, maybe a piece of paper width between the bottom of these forks and the top of the floor. So not to give up the low ground, but not to get bound up. The other thing I didn't know, this is a basic, like veteran builders, I feel like they understand things of how to build robots. And it's like, when you get up in the morning, you put on your socks, you put on your, whatever order you put it on, you know what to do. And it's just automatic. So they put this stuff, it's capped on tape. And what it is, it's a barrier for electricity and things. It has lots of other uses, but it's very lightweight. So what was happening in my last cluster of power is that all of my junctions for where I was joining my wires was up closer to my safety switch on the top side, and they were covered in electrical tape. And over time, it just gapped because, it happens. And then it started also because this is titanium. It would start to arc on the bottom. So my ESC was overheating. There was all kinds of weird things. So in between the last event and this event, I've been working on making Stag more bulletproof with just in the way that, totally botched setting up my ESC from day one. Okay. I don't know how much I told you about this, but on your receivers, I'll grab my receiver for a nice visual, because visuals are better than just pointing randomly in the air. So this is like 6 channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll just keep waving my hand around. Okay, so I want this one to go forward and back, and this one right to left. It's called direct drive. Okay, so in setting it up with the computer to the ESC, I had to set up channel 3 and channel 4. Okay, so the stuff around it is still active, but it's kind of not really what you want to do. So I had this one set up fine, hunky-dory, but this one, if I hit it left or right off, either way, it was still active. It would make Stag go left or right all on its own unexpectedly. So, and that was just because I had it plugged into the wrong channel on my receiver. And to try to troubleshoot that, I, mixed in a little channel 1 to a little channel 3, and we got action. So really, like in the last 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever it's been, I've enjoyed my losses because I have been learning so much. And it's been just like an amazing journey. People who have set up and said, hey, you know what could be better? Try this, try that. And it's like, oh, absolutely. Why didn't I do this in the first place? Why did I do this in the first place? It's one of those moments where you feel smart and dumb all at once. Like, I figured that out. Why did I do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm curious because obviously you've stuck with this design for a while, and I wanted to know, like, is it just because you like this idea of having just a really good control bot, or if you had resources and money to build something like crazy, would you go a different direction, or do you just like this style of bot?
Oh, I really like this style of bot because when it did come to inception, and I said, hey, what am I going to base my design on? And I don't, like I say, I don't have the engineering background, but I have a lot of like science interest. I have like, who's that guy, Tesla? No, he's somebody, stuff like that. So my quest for that kind of scientific knowledge has always been there. So kind of like reading up on stuff, but the design came from an actual stag beetle. And I decided to say, hey, okay. And for my years in being in factory, I said, how would I like automate a bug like this and what he does? And I took the strengths, it's got a really hard shell. You can bounce it off, it can take a 30-foot fall, be fine. They grapple and pull, but that seems kind of inefficient to do it at once, because that's only one bug at a time. So I was thinking that I'm calling these the mandibles. If the mandibles are dropped down into the middle, and I always wanted a bot that was invertible, so no matter what, it just keeps going. And a part of my design philosophy is I want my robot to be able to take a hit, land, and recover faster than the person that gave me the hit. So, and just then that way they're too busy recovering themselves and I'm all up in their business. That would be nice. So that kind of was the Beetle with the forks. And then I took the weapon and I'm like, they use their jaw as the bottom part to help rip. Well, that just needs to do this just to pop them up in the air a few months. So if they're fighting up in a tree, you knock your opponent off the tree an inch, they're falling to the ground, you win. So I like that it's invertible. I like having a smaller weapon because then I don't have to deal with the gyroscopic forces and how to counter them, and having such a huge weapon like that. And I can put it into armor and to speed. And this is still just my prototype. The version 2 is coming. And I have a bad idea for it. Do you want to hear the bad idea?
I don't know. What is the bad idea?
I want to make it a 6-legged shuffler bot because it is supposed to be a beetle, and beetles have 6 legs. And then I could put it up to 5 pounds with still the same similar design, which I feel is very basic and straightforward. So then that should be able to, size up. Most people size like big things down, and I'm taking this little. Have you ever seen like a video of a stag beetle fight?
Yeah, I have actually.
They're crazy. They're crazy. I saw one of those videos with a stag beetle and a scorpion. Oh, it made my heart stop. But the stag beetle at the end won. And he was just like, yeah, parading the thing around. I'm like, now I'm horrified of what this is. And that's actually kind of in truth. Because when I came into my very first event in September, I was like, I'm going to get punted just right out the ring. And then I did well. So it was like this journey, this has all been surprising and amazing, because I have no idea this was going to be like this, and not only that, the people I've met, like Thomas from ABGS or AGVS, right? And talk to him, and he's great. He's an awesome person to talk to. And we saw him in the last event. He came up when you said hi again, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "Great." And I started to introduce myself to the rest of the team, and he's like, "Don't you worry, they know who you are." And I'm like, "Cool." Like one of those, great. They've talked about me, but was it just and then strategized. So, but he took my very first event, like in I think it was September, or was it November, when I saw him the first time. He took a picture of Stag and sent it off to Marco, and he said, "Why didn't you ever build a D2 like this?" And I was like, so I'm sorry, I'm rambling again.
Oh, you're fine. Actually, I was gonna say there's only one thing that I would love to see, Michael, in a future iteration of Stag Beetlebot, is I feel, as someone who greatly treasured Honey, I Shrunk the Kids growing up, you need to have a mini bot that is an ant weight and call it Auntie. And it needs to be with Stag Beetlebot.
Well, see, I'm trying to do a whole bug theme where it's not just a name of a bug, but it's the root of the design of the robot is mixed with bugs, like, whatever. Like the fire ant that I was trying to talk to you about. And it's like a clamper bot with, what I think weaponized glow sticks, Jameson called them, and then start clamping and melting in through people. But I don't have the budget for that yet.
Right.
So, but that's based on a fire ant, so it's going to be another, oh my God, another 6-legger. That's the goal anyways. At least I'm moving away from the tires. Get that weight bonus for all these extra motors and stuff. But that's kind of the thing. And using smaller weapons, so I don't have to fight the gyroscopic forces and stuff. It's like two different styles of fighting, kind of like I compared it. I was talking to Robert Rund about it. And like, it's like kind of like WWE now, where you get the big, showboating moves, people coming off the top rope. Those are all your big spinners. Then you have your tactical mat wrestlers, like Roman Greco. And like, I'm like, kind of like, he's like a Roman Greco. I'm trying, then that's your control bots. They're the Roman Grecos of the sport in a way. So, and I tried, it's a laughable comparison, I guess, it's synonymous, but it's kind of right.
Yeah, I could definitely see the comparison. Yeah, but I mean, like, I think that's exciting. I think, like, one thing that I love to see in NHRL, because I mean, you more commonly see folks that have multiple bots or have had multiple bots, probably more so than battle bots. And I love a good theme, where all of the bots have that same type of theme and you just like stick with it as part of your team. So yeah, I'm excited to see what more you'll be able to do with it.
Can I ask you a fashion sense question?
Yes.
Let me ask you, does this say bug keeper to you?
In a way, I could totally see like the bee hood mask thing with it. Yeah.
I was thinking I could wear one of my gaiters and stuff,
Yeah.
Like, I've been on the fence about wearing the hat, because it's a thing, but I'm trying to figure it out. I was actually, because I am trying, like I say, trying to lean into the whole bug thing. I have got a guy in my pits who just got his own 3D printer. I inspired him to do that. He's like, hey, if you can do this, and I asked him to make me a like oversized bug cage that I can bring Stag to the ring it. So it's like when I'll bring him in a little like, bug cage, put him in the ring and then let him out. That's the idea.
That's great. I love it.
So that's kind of the start of it. I don't know what to do for like my own apparel to kind of like pop out and stand out. Oh, by the way, did you see the shirts
Yes,
Like
yes,
those?
loving the shirts.
Yeah, I'm like, I was really a fan. A fan gave me the artwork. That is not my artwork. I am not that good. I make bad stick figures. So they gave it to me and said, use it in any way you want, and that's really cool.
Awesome. Well, I definitely am looking forward to the rest of the season for NHRL and seeing what you do. But I definitely appreciate you coming on. For everyone that's watching the show, please make sure that you continue following the NHRL events. They're so exciting. There's so much variety and different things people bring to the table. Keep watching the show, keep making sure you like, subscribe, all of that stuff. And yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say one more thing. Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. You do not know who will be on board with it and help you out. It's amazing the amount of support I've gotten from just random people that I would never thought I would have met in my life. And when you try something new, it might be scary, but then when people start digging it, you're going to feel awesome.
Yes, 100% agree. This show would not be possible with a long list of people that have helped out in one way or another, whether it's just coming on, promoting it, whatever the case may be. So yeah, thank you to everyone who supports combat robotics, and we'll see everyone next time on the show.